2017 may not have been a very productive year for this channel. However, if there's one promise that shall never, ever be broken, it's that when Jack says he's going to get a Pokemon video out by Christmas, Jack will get a Pokemon video out by Christmas. Let's do this thing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just going to assume that this game needs no introduction. I'm pretty sure about half of my subscriber base has come from the Pokemon retrospective I did back in 2017. So, in a way, I guess this is welcome back. Or, if you're new here, hi. The Pokemon retrospective is perhaps one of my life's biggest accomplishments, which says it all really. My original Sun and Moon review being one of my absolute favourites. That said, before I stroke my own cock so vigorously to the point where it falls off, there are indeed flaws. Given the fact that my original Sun and Moon review was put together in about 3 weeks in time for Christmas, I didn't really have much time to fact check. So what better way to fix that than with another video that's also probably being made against the clock. Seriously people, this is the sort of shit you're in for. Be careful before you subscribe. I mean, I swear my videos are good. Please stay. I should warn you that this is probably going to be a very brief review. If you're looking for a more in-depth overview of Gen 7, e.g. mechanics, Pokemon, etc., then this is the review you're looking for. I will supply the link to it in the description and at the end of the video. Put it simply, what I'll be going over today is the differences and tweaks brought on from the original Sun and Moon, as well as any bits and pieces I neglected to mention or got wrong in my original Sun and Moon review. So, what kind of game is Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon? Is it a sequel? Is it like an Emerald or a Platinum? Or something completely different? The words that Game Freak used during its unveiling was a retelling, which to me sounded like an indiscreet way of saying it's another Platinum so that people wouldn't get annoyed. The story of Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon plays out roughly the same way with very minor differences. You still meet Lily in the beginning, you still visit the 8th Foundation, and you still take on the Island Challenge led by Professor Kukui, who is in fact not your cousin. Your character has just moved from the Kanto region to the Alola region to live with your cousin Professor Kukui. Damn it past me, you culturally dense fuckhead! My apologies if I made anybody cringe in that video. You have every single right to call me an idiot because I was. Where the story differs a little bit though is the conflict between Lily, Gladion and Lusamine, and I would argue not for the better. OG Sun and Moon's plot basically revolved around Lusamine's obsession with the Ultra Beasts and how that slowly began to poison the relationship between her and her children. Hence the whole thing about the clothes and Burnett being like a real mother to Lily was a subtle yet a very important part of Sun and Moon. Lily's whole reason for leaving the Foundation was because Lusamine was going to kill off Cosmog just to fulfill her sad desires of wanting to be with the Ultra Beasts. It ended with Nebby turning out to be the mascot legendary and Lily reconciling with her mother in arguably one of the sweetest moments in the entire series. Gladion meanwhile got a hold of Type Null, a Pokemon modelled after Arceus that can change types. Its purpose was to just catch the Ultra Beasts for Lusamine. Given that Gladion was being oppressed by his mother and then begrudgingly takes on orders for Guzma, yeah, there are a few similarities there. That's pretty much an abridged version of what I went over in my original review. It's a very dark subject matter and one I feel was handled with a surprising amount of tact and maturity. Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon come along a year later and ask, now what if we make Lusamine look like the good guy? Okay, so it turns out in this interpretation of the story, Lusamine isn't too fond of the Ultra Beasts. It's implied that Lily's father was taken by them, but they never go too deep into that. What I want to know is why the fuck is Lily still dressed up in these clothes if Lusamine has no interest in the Ultra Beasts? Now I know what you're thinking, she probably just picked those out herself. Except, we do the whole looking at clothes thing again. It's like the exact same machine is trying to operate on different cogs. Lucamine's reasons for wanting to sacrifice Cosmog in this version is so that she can open the Ultra Wormhole and use the power of the Ultra Beasts to combat Necrozma. Lily doesn't think any Pokemon should be sacrificed, again touching on that one life versus millions debate, but again, I can't buy Lucamine being a good guy. And before anybody says to me, Jack, you're taking this too seriously. Yeah, I kind of am, but shut up. Level with me here, guys. They're wanting me to redeem a character who, may I remind you, still in this game keeps Pokemon cryogenically frozen to preserve their beauty. You cannot tell me that this woman is not made of crazy. Not to mention given how much of a shitty mother she was in the original game. Personally, I'm all for having her character be redeemed. I don't really want to hate anybody. But you can't just have her do one selfless act right off the bat and make me forget all the bad shit she did in the first game. It's also because of this change that Lily never does go to Kanto when her mother was poisoned by Neolego. Instead, Gladion goes in the hopes of becoming closer with his Pokemon, with Lucamine waving him off, which is nice, but again ultimately feels lacking after the brilliant ending we had in the first game. Necrozma's role in this whole ordeal is that it wants to absorb all the world's light and use it to transform into his Ultra form. Lucamine tried to counteract it using the Ultra Beasts, but it didn't go so well. The mascot legendary tries to take it head on, but ends up getting absorbed. The Ultra Recon squad steps in to help you out with their mascot legendary, and together you ride into Ultra Space, ending up in Ultra Megapolis. A world consisting of one elevator and a staircase. This place looks so damn cool. I just wish we got to explore more of it. Game Freak, why didn't you make this into a dungeon or something? This was a great opportunity. At the top of the staircase, Necrozma sheds his mascot legendary skin, and what we're left with is a being made up of pure light. Ultra Necrozma. Damn, I don't think I've seen a design that good since Rayquaza. But that won't stop me from taking your ass down. You think you're so tough because you've got all your stats doubled. Well, I'll show you. Oh god, this was a mistake! A common criticism held at the 3DS lineup of Pokemon games is that for the most part, they are pretty damn easy, especially compared to the earlier games. I'll admit, I don't go back to Gen 6 and 7 quite as often as 1 through 5 for that very reason. Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon punished me for being a cocky little shit by giving me my 3 AM wake up call I desperately needed from this series. At the start of the game, I didn't have the XP share on because I wanted to give myself some kind of challenge. Needless to say, it didn't stick. Whether it be Totem Araquanid, Ultra Necrozma, or that fucking Lurantis, this game will kick you in the fucking teeth if you don't come prepared. I have been playing Pokemon for years, and even I blacked out several times my first time playing this game. No joke, the one and only strategy I could come up with for Ultra Necrozma is to wait for its PP to drain on its offensive moves and then move in for the kill. Anything else I tried ended up with all of my Pokemon being one-shotted. The sad part about this is that thanks to the bar being set so high by this battle, the Elite Four is now a total cakewalk in comparison. However, it's not Kukui waiting for you at the end, it's Hal, who, might I add, has actually seen some pretty good development. Like before, Hal is still very carefree and does still like to battle just to have a good time. However, as Gladion points out to him, if you've got nothing to drive you forward, what's the point? Hence why, when he decides to challenge you for the title, he wants to have a fun battle, yes, but he also wants to try his best and beat you for both him and his Pokemon. Other than that, I did think that Guzma had some really nice development, especially during the post-game with Rainbow Rocket. Ultimately, Guzma ends up disbanding Team Skull in the hopes of bettering himself, which is ultimately cool to see. The core of the new content, however, lies within the post-game. Much like the Delta episode a la Oras, Ultra Sun and Moon gives us the Rainbow Rocket storyline. Giovanni has taken over the Ava Foundation and he's brought with him one hell of a lineup. Not only has he got his minions lurking about, but he's also got every team leader from every generation. Tweedledum, Tweedlefuckstick, Cyrus, Dennis, and who's his face come back to battle you. I mean, what the hell was Giovanni thinking bringing these guys to fight me? Archie and Maxie can barely even tie their own fucking shoelaces, let alone beat me in a fair fight. And something tells me bringing someone like Getsus on board and expecting him not to backstab you is probably the worst mistake of his entire life. I mean, we've been through this song and dance before for 6 generations at this point. There is nothing you can do to... Oh no. That's bad. Honestly, this whole scenario is just one big excuse to give Pokemon fans a massive erection. It worked, so I guess I can't complain. Though I will say I was more excited that the other baddies were coming back rather than Team Rocket. Unless it's the anime, I just don't care for them. At least they're not Team Flare. Now, onto the tweaks in gameplay, and this honestly is probably the easiest thing I've ever had to write in any of my reviews ever. To start, let's go over something that I got completely wrong in my initial review, and you guys were right in calling me out on it. The Pokepelago has a much bigger purpose than I was initially aware of. It can be used to get some really cool items like stones and all sorts of other knickknacks depending on the island. The more you expand your islands, the better drops you get. The more Pokemon you catch, the more islands you can build. I really do like that aspect of it actually, since you never really have an incentive to catch other Pokemon outside of the original 6. Graphically, the game has undergone some improvements. Little touches to the world have been added to make Alola pop out that much more. The same can also be said for the battling interface, which all round just looks a lot more colourful. From a musical standpoint, there's not really much to go on here. It's still the same great tracks from Sun and Moon, with the new tracks being just as good as the rest. The Rainbow Rocket stuff especially is so good. Other than the obvious graphics, sound, and of course Rainbow Rocket, what incentive do you have, either as a returning customer or as a newcomer, to pick this version up over its predecessor? For starters, there's the Battle Agency. Ever played the Battle Factory in Emerald or Platinum? Well, this is exactly what this is. The fun part about this facility though is that the more you battle, the better Pokemon you can collect, which does include legendaries. Speaking of legendaries, Ultra Sun and Moon, provided that you have both games, has every single legendary ever made across all 7 generations. The only exception to this is the mythical Pokemon like Mew, Celebi, etc. You get them by either riding Solgaleo or Lunala into Ultra Space, where you play a rather addicting minigame. Honestly, the closest thing I can compare the Ultra Warp Ride to is that of a Sonic Special stage. There will be different colour portals. The shinier the portal, the better your chances are of scoring a legendary. Level 4 portals will guarantee it though, so try looking for those if you can. You fly through these boostrings to keep your speed up while also avoiding these electric spheres. Gyro controls are the default, but you can go to the Game Freak office building to turn those off. And it's a good thing too, get that shit out of there. Legendaries like Rayquaza for example will require that you have both mascot legendaries from their respective generations. So in this case you'd need Kyogre from Ultra Moon and Groudon from Ultra Sun. Thing is that you also need both of these legendaries in your party, which can really limit team combinations. I already have several copies of each legendary, but I'm really glad that Game Freak are making it easier for people to track these guys down. Not everybody has a decade-year-old GBA game and a DS Lite on hand. Wait, Ruby and Sapphire turned 15 years old this year. Oh god, I'm old! Ultra Beasts can also be tracked down through white portals. Honestly, these worlds are my favourite part of the game. They can range from a lush jungle to a world made up of circuitry to an actual post-apocalyptic city overrun by Guzzlord. Seriously, people have been forced underground because Guzzlord turned their once happy civilization into rubble. I wasn't scared of Guzzlord before. I am now. Mantime surfing has you performing tricks between the island of Alola in order to get beach points, which can be exchanged for some rather cool prizes like rare candies or max revives, so this is definitely worth your time. The Zygarde Cube side quest has been replaced with the Totem stickers. Get 20 of them and Samson Oak will give you a Totem Pokemon, which is just the same Pokemon, only slightly bigger. Yay. The totem stickers themselves are not locked behind the time of day and can be spotted much easier. I didn't bother collecting them for this review because I ultimately felt like the reward wasn't worth it. I'm just glad that they aren't as tedious as that fucking Zygarde sale quest. Seriously, I love you guys, but I'm never ever doing that again. Zygarde can still be found in the game, you just gotta catch it first. You then split up the 30% Zygarde given to you by Dexia and Sinner, and then boom, you're done. Thank God, you don't have to go through that shit again. Pokemon Sun and Moon actually had an anime tie-in in the form of Ash Greninja. As cynical as I can be towards the anime sometimes, I will compliment it. The way XYZ was marketed was a stroke of pure genius. I could not tell you for the life of me what happened in the other series, bar the bullshit parts. But XYZ, I remember that series because of Ash Greninja, against my better judgment. No, I'm not over that, and I never will be. No, I don't have issues, mother. What the fuck are you talking about? Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon follow this up by giving you a special dusk form of Lycanroc that Ash is currently using in the Sun and Moon anime. Again, I think it's a much cleverer marketing strategy than just simply showing off the region, so props to the anime, I guess. One of the biggest additions for people in this game is going to be the 5 new Pokemon added to the roster. Technically 4 because one of them is an event legendary, but nonetheless this is the first time that new Pokemon have been added mid-generation. And no, they aren't in the code of the original Sun and Moon. All 4 are Ultra Beasts, with Stakataka being exclusive to Ultra Moon and Bucephalon being exclusive to Ultra Sun. Honestly, I'm not really a fan of Stakataka because it looks a little bit derpy, though Bucephalon is nice and colourful. I do like that design. Poipold and its evolution Noganadel are actually some of my favourite Pokemon this generation. I don't know, something about a poison dragon just seems really awesome. For some reason, I'm getting Digimon vibes off this thing, which is weird because I've never actually touched anything Digimon related. Perhaps in the future. Ultimately, if you're still unsure about this game, if you're a big fan, I'll bet this will be the thing that wins you over. The biggest alteration in the game, however, can be found with the trial captains. Sometimes it's minor, like having an Araquanid attack you at the end of Lana's trial instead of Wishy-Washy. Other times it's helping Mallow finding ingredients for her brew, while also picking up the right ones so Pokemon don't attack you later on. Even Mina has a trial this time around, in which you go across all 4 islands and battle each of the captains to get a petal. It feels like a perfect way to cap off a final trial, especially since you didn't really fight most of the captains to begin with. Now, with that said, would I recommend this game to you as the definitive Gen 7 experience? Well, that depends on a couple of things. 1, are you a returning player, or are you a newcomer? And if so, what do you prioritize? I'm gonna be honest guys, I don't know whether it's because I did a big retrospective last year, or the fact that these games were only a year apart from Sun and Moon, but I felt a little bit fatigued while playing this game. Not to mention that unlike, say, Emerald or Platinum, this time there are 2 versions instead of the usual one, which to some may seem like a little bit greedy. I mean, it worked, I'm a massive poker whore after all, but to some it might raise the red flag. If the bonuses I laid out to you sound good, or if you loved the original Sun and Moon that much, then by all means, go for it. I want to stress that these are not bad games. Far, 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 far from it. In fact, they are excellent games. But if you have that Sun and Moon baggage, you may have already had your fill. Also, for fuck's sake, Game Freak, why is there no National Dex feature built into this game? I don't want to have to go to Pokemon Bank every time I want to check this shit. You had one fucking job. But if you're a newcomer, well, it really just depends on how you like your Pokemon or RPGs in general. If you favour post-game content and better mechanics, then go with the Ultra games. However, if you're looking for a good story to sink your teeth into, go with Sun and Moon. This game has left me in a bit of a sticky situation where mechanically it's better, but as an overall experience, I had more fun playing vanilla Sun and Moon. We now have no true Gen 7 experience, but rather two sides of the same coin. But who knows, maybe Game Freak intended it to be that way. In any case, I hope that by the next time we see our beloved Pocket Monsters, it will be on the Nintendo Switch, and you bet your ass I'll be right there when it happens. With all that said, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful holiday, a brilliant new year, and just a terrific time all round. Here's hoping I can do better in 2018. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Jack. Stay safe.